I'm heading out, man. You want to ride?
No, I got my car, but I actually really need to go to the bathroom.
Dude, are you okay?
I am definitely buzzed.
Yeah.
I think I will take this and I will take that ride home.
Welcome to the 34 Motorsports Product Showcase. We're proud to offer the full line of Simpson Racing safety products. The Shark Speedway is a perfect brain bucket to keep your melon as safe as possible. We carry every model and size of Hans device, and these have saved countless lives. The Hybrid Pro Lite is an alternative to the Hans device and is just as effective. The DNA 3-layer suit offers maximum protection when things get hot. And hey, dude, those comfy shoes won't help one bit when things go south. Keep those hands ready to work with a pair of Vortex FIA gloves meeting every current standard. From 5 to 7 points, we carry every one of the Simpson harnesses, keeping your rear end right where it should be. Keep all your gear clean and together with the helmet and FHR bag, and always be ready to hop in a race car. Visit 34motorsports.com and order today. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another season of Sim Racers Club action right here on the National Racing Network. My name is Chris Graham. It is a pleasure to have you hanging out with us tonight. And in the booth with me, we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Patrick Byrne. What's going on tonight, Bizzle? How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling all right. I'm excited for a new season of SRC. We're here at the Daytona International Speedway, a fantastic track. This track, no matter what you throw on it, always gives you great racing. So, looking forward to it.
Yeah, this one, we say it has the potential for fun every night, but the reality is you're going to get some fun out of this. There's kind of no other way to look at it. I'm really looking forward to some of the stuff that we're going to be able to see maybe a little bit later on. The 2 and 3 wide racing is going to be good here, and the biggest Sim Racers Club field we've seen since the early part of last season.
Yeah, it's a new season, new year. Everyone starts at 0 points, so there's no advantage to anyone. Everyone has a shot right now, and hopefully it stays that way. I really hope so, because it's a great league, ton of great guys, always great competition, and hoping to see some more great racing.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting time here for sure, and we'll see what this is going to bring here as the night rolls on. Looking tonight at an 80-lap race distance, which, when you break it down into the stages that they're going to run here tonight, stage number 1 ends at lap 17. Stage 2 ends at lap 38. However, you can only make 41 to 44 laps or so on a full tank of fuel. So basically what you're talking about then is you can't make it on just one stop. You're going to have to make this a 2-stop race unless you elect for the green flag stop in the middle of stage 2, and then you're running the risk of putting yourself a lap down and all that other kind of stuff that's going to go with it. There's really a lot of strategy plays that could be involved here.
Yeah, I have a feeling we'll see, as typical of Daytona, we'll see a caution come out right around time that a bunch of cars start diving down pit road for that last green flag pit stop that they're going to need. So I feel like you could see a lot of guys come down, either throw a fresh set of tires on it, maybe take that last splash of fuel, and dash to the end of this one.
Yeah, it definitely has the potential for some of that kind of fun and shenanigans here. And let's bring up the, well, if you're a new viewer of the or if you're a loyal viewer of the Sim Racers Club and you don't watch any of the other stuff, we've got some new graphics. And actually, these are also going to update as the season progresses as well here. But yeah, we're kind of looking at a new look, a new feel. It's Daytona, man. Everything's new. Everybody's excited for it.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of the stuff you've been putting together, and it blows my mind a little bit. It definitely blows Fox and NBC out the water, that's for sure.
I don't know I'd go that far, but you will see this is a little bit akin to the Fox Tower that you see on the left-hand side of the screen as practice has finished and it is time to go qualifying here at the World Center of Racing. Take a look here. Check out the comments as well. Feel free to leave us one. Shoot us a message. Tell us we're dumb. We're not good at our jobs or whatever else. If you're enjoying the show, we like the compliments as well. Who's your favorite driver? Who you rooting for here? We saw last season Johnny Avila was just about untouchable the longer we went into this season. There's a lot of new names, though. I mean, we're seeing a 30-car entry list tonight, and we really have no idea what to expect outside of guys like Tyler Seville, Johnny Avila. We know they're going to be quick. We know they're going to run towards the front of the field. But with so many new names, you really don't have any idea of what's going on here on night one. So we'll bring the timing tower back up here. You'll see where your favorite driver is going to slot into the qualification line as they come around to complete their laps. Just getting started on lap number 1 is Tyler Seville. Another guy we're going to pick up here and show you. We're pretty proud to have our name on the side of Mike McConville's race car for the full season. The number 57 will be presented by the National Racing Network. That Chevrolet Camaro trying to throw a little bit of cash and a few bones behind some of the drivers that, well, they run in the leagues, and, you know, if it's not for these leagues, we don't really have anything to talk about here. So
That's a fantastic looking race car too. Nice and retro. I like the Gulf colors going on with it.
Yep, that is exactly what it is. It is a Gulf throwback. And this actually, the whole night is a bit of a throwback here. Pick up Troy Haight running his familiar number 28. But this car that was all black last season is very much not this season. We'll get you a good look at that one here. Look at the wood grain paneling on the side of that car. It's a Woody.
Am I looking at a Camaro or am I looking at the family truckster? Because that thing is freaking awesome.
Car is absolutely gorgeous. Well done, Mr. Troy Haight. A name we haven't seen much since the league went to all Cup Series cars last season, the next gens. Will Worsler back in the race here. Looking forward to hearing from Miss Nikki Worsler in the comments here very shortly, I'm assuming. Will Will just coming around to complete his qualification run. We'll pick up Richard Fletcher here, the number 43 Custom Paints and Diecasts Ford Mustang. A little bit of a new school feel to that one. Take a look here. This is the 59 of Ryan Nicoletta out of Western New York, running for Pie-Eyed Racing. Turnkey Automation Systems, Local 13 Pipe Fitters Union, Farmington Forest Management on the side of that Chevrolet Camaro. And here is the guy who was just untouchable last season. Johnny Avila was incredible. And the paint job, I am absolutely in love with. A throwback to Giacomo Magiacomo. Had made a handful of Cup starts in the 1980s, involved in the crash that nearly claimed the life of Bobby Allison at Pocono Raceway. I don't think Jocko made another start after that one. But what a cool throwback to a lesser-known name in the sport. I absolutely love this from Johnny Avila.
Although he's got 427 cubic inches written on the hood of that thing, and I can tell you, that thing's only a 358.
Yes, so he's cheating. Race 1, we're already cheating.
Or at least they're only supposed to be at 358.
That puts a smile on my face. You have no idea. Accusing somebody of cheating before the racing season even gets started here. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, looking at the numbers that we get to see on the timing and scoring stand, how about 2 C-Class, 2 B-Class licenses? Every other name in this field is an A-Class driver. That's impressive. I mean, you're talking a very, very deep field here. And the I ratings are no slouch either here. The vast majority of the field, over about 3,000 or so.
I was going to say, I was going down the list looking at the numbers, and most of those guys are higher than I am. Which means I got to start racing soon and get my numbers up.
I was just going to say, is that really a joke that you're going to make today, that somebody's higher than you are?
That's not where I was going with that, but...
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
This is going to be a night, people. We're looking forward to it.
Oh, man.
Now, as we see, just about almost everybody has wrapped up their qualifying runs here. We've got a handful that have not yet made their qualifying runs. But the reality of things here, Patrick, is that we're talking about a strategy game that's going to be played, because here's perhaps my favorite thing I've seen thus far. And hopefully Jordan or Sam are actually here. Let's do this. Let's bring Mr. Jordan Barry here into the room with us. And Jordan, have you completed the driver's meeting yet?
Yes, we are all done.
Okay.
Lengthy one.
Okay. So the league is doing some things differently here this season. My favorite one of them involves determining when and if we get a caution flag at the end of a stage break. Explain the rule to us, and what was the outcome at the drivers' meeting this evening?
Well, we kind of talked about it earlier, and I've never been a stage caution fan, because as you know, iRacing, you can have enough cautions and blah 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 blah, but I love strategy. So we tried to, I was in a league where they just kind of randomized it. You know, one week it was this one week it was this one. So Sam built a board, and he has a certain percentages. He's a big numbers guy, and so there's a certain percentage that when he spins his wheel, that it'll be the first caution, and there's a certain percentage it'll be the second caution, and there's a certain percentage that it'll be no caution. So you know, teams that practice a lot, you know, can't totally whip everyone on strategy, because they're now sitting in their discords deciding how they're going to play strategy, because they were just notified of the caution being the second stage caution today.
Okay, so when we conclude stage number 1, that will be under green.
Under green, yeah.
Stage
so we'll score. It's still scoring, but we're not going to throw caution.
Okay, so we stay green at the end of stage 1, but we will have the scoring and all the details that go with that. At the end of stage 2 is when we're going to get the caution. Patrick, we'll
Exactly.
talk about that here in just a minute. But what are the other big changes that we've seen for the league this year, Jordan? And a lot of these are made in hopes of increasing participation season long.
Yeah, so I think a couple things that we've done is we're doing a 2 race. Maybe you guys already talked about it, but 2 14 race seasons. So if a guy gets in the league later, he's got next season technically to deal with it, or have a chance. So we're gonna have 3 champions. We're gonna have a spring champion, the fall champion, and an overall champion. So kind of gives everyone a fair shake, but you still have the length of a season of not like 10 races. So I think that's one thing. We're doing the team thing, which will be fun for guys to have a teams, and I think that's kind of about it. I mean, we got a lot going in my brain with getting into the season opener here, but
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we'll be able to provide those updates throughout the season. And there's a lot of new stuff coming here as well on the NRN side. We'll talk about that a little bit as well, Patrick. But Jordan, thank you very much for popping in the booth here, and we'll let you back down to
and
your work here.
one thing to note for you guys, just so you guys know, I don't know if you heard the driver's meeting, but when it does come to the stage end, if the caution falls where the stage end will be close, where like we'll go green with 1 lap, it will be scored at the caution. So we're not going to go green for 1 lap, or we're not going to have guys staying out just because they want to get stage points. So that's one thing you guys can note in your broadcast.
I absolutely love that. No screwing around, no playing games. That really ultimately is the goal here, Patrick. Is let's not screw around with any of the silliness here in terms of strategy. Play it straight up, basically.
Keep it simple.
Yes, that is absolutely going to be the key to this one. And let's take a look here at our starting lineup. And on the pole for this one, out of the Black Car Mafia organization, Justin Sumner, a lap time of 50.146 seconds. Tim Knott going to line up on the outside of the front row. Doug Mullins and Ruben Phelps will occupy row number 2. Notice the flag there, New Zealand, which is absolutely fantastic. We'll talk about that a little bit as well. We've got some folks from down under joining the league this season. Brandon Stokes and Rick Javorka lining up on row number 3. Richard Fletcher and Roger Rios on row number 4. Jacob Williams, Brad Allison on row 5. Kevin Dick, Max Williams on row number 6. Troy Haight and Mike McConville going to occupy the 7th row here this evening. And row number 8, little bit of a surprise here, Tyler Seville and Will Worsler. Seville, the most successful driver in the history of the Sim Racers Club, going to have to do it from 15th on the grid tonight. Johnny Avila, another big surprise, but he's only a 10th and a quarter out of the pole time. He's going to line up in 17th alongside Hunter Waters. Andrew Moore Jr. out of Pennsylvania, Ryan Nicoletta out of the state of New York on row number 10. Row 11 will have Marcellus Bruning and Richard Smith. Ryan Wasserman, Corbin Simmons on row number 12. Row 13, Scotty Grove and Corey Silva. Row 14, Nick Curling and Tony Patton. Row number 15, AJ Digby and the Colonel, Terry Mustard Jr. That is absolutely awesome, Colonel Mustard. Bringing up the back of the field. Man, this is going to be exciting. 80 laps the distance. They're racing first to lap 17. That will be the conclusion of stage number 1. Patrick, what are we thinking here? It's a new season. You're amped up, ready to go. How do you settle yourself in here?
Either you get in line, sit back and wait, or you start pushing your way to the front, driving aggressive, and letting everyone know who you are and you're here to race and win. Really, all that matters is you take that checkered flag. Do you want your name remembered on that wall, or do you want it remembered with checkered flag? Let's get ready to go.
Pace truck is in. As always, race fans, the start of the Sim Racers Club is going to be all yours. Lap number 1 of 80 goes in the books, and it's going to be Tim Knott leading the field. He'll have Ruben Phelps and Justin Sumner lined up just behind. I'll tell you what, though, Patrick, that outside lane able to hold a little bit of momentum. Like McConville diving to the inside of the racetrack through 1 and 2. If you're going to try to make that outside lane work, it really is about managing the energy here.
Yeah, I think it's too early to be trying to fight around up there, though. Although, as we've seen in some of these Daytona races, once you go single file, these guys tend to like to stick around the high side. So securing yourself there right now is probably not a bad idea, especially early on in these races.
Thank you very much, Scott Wise, giving us that Marcellus goes by Mark. We appreciate that one. Scott Wise also saying, get up on the wheel, Roger and Andrew. Nikki Worsler checking in. Thank you very much. Love having the active comments here, giving a lot of love for Will Worsler Racing. So top 3 here, Patrick, starting to get away just a little bit. Not really a surprise there. The gap's only 0.3 of a second, but if this group continues side by side, that could open up in a hurry.
Yeah, especially if they're fighting around like that. You can see that gap starting to build already, and if those cars really don't get single file soon, that top 3 is going to have a breakaway. Especially we've seen these next-gen cars, they almost like to draft like the old car of tomorrow's did. So you get 2 or 3 of those cars really locked up good together, they can pull away from the pack.
It's really fascinating to watch these battles develop, and quite frankly, we've got good battles here. Oh, we've got one spinning down to the inside of the racetrack. That's Tim Knott. What a save! Is he gonna?
Oh man!
What a save, Tim Knott!
Wow.
Hold up. Let's see this one sliding. Oh man. Unfortunately, we're not going to get far enough back to get the live look at it, but now Tim's got a real problem here because he is stuck at the back of the field and he is going to get swallowed up in a huge hurry. And what was that about not racing each other here, Patrick? Even seeing one guy make the save of the year possibly, we're still going to be going side by side, and the outside lane's working. Doug Mullins going to ride that all the way to the front.
Yeah, they're getting a little squirrely up there. I think it's a little too early to be playing like this, but if they want to drive like that, I'm all for it. This is fantastic to watch.
Let's go back a lap here and find what happened to Tim Knott. He just got straight up Punterino off the corner. But good Lord, what a save. Absolutely unreal. Fantastic job there, Tim Knott. Roger Rios going to make his way to the top of the board. One car down beneath the yellow line. That appears to be the 06 of Ruben Phelps. But one of the things about this series that I absolutely love, Patrick, Sam Maxwell runs the league. He's got Jordan Barry running the league with him. These guys are not driving in the league. They are here to put on a great league for their competitors. There's no team allegiances. There's none of that stuff going on. And they're going to officiate this in real time.
Yeah, it's fantastic and very rare to find in leagues. That's how you know you have a good league, when you have people sitting on top of the box and watching it from kind of a third-person perspective. No interest in any of the teams, you know, of course friends with everyone, but not too much with anyone. And you get a really fair, really good, really fun race.
Cue the Jaws theme. Johnny Avila making his way to the front of the field. He is your hard charger of the race thus far, up 11 positions, currently running in 6th. And it looks like he's got the 29 of Will Worsler locked right up on his bumper. Hard to believe, but Patrick, we're already halfway through stage number 1. No surprise, this league prides itself on how clean the driving is. But it really does come into play in terms of the strategy calls here, because if the caution's going to come at lap 38, I still don't think that gets you enough fuel to make it to the end of this thing. Unless, I mean, it's going to be right on the ragged edge of making it to the end.
Yeah, and if we do happen to get overtime, you definitely won't make it to the end there.
Brandon Stokes in the 9 hung out to dry just a little bit up the middle of the racetrack. Like McConville going to make the move to the outside of the racetrack. He's going to try to pick up the energy from that outside lane. That is something that, and we noticed this in the Fuel Premier Series as well. It feels like iRacing has absolutely gotten the energy management part of this car right. Maybe all the other physics are going to be pretty close, but it feels like if you're able to hook up with a run on the outside, you can use that to your advantage. If you don't get the energy, though, you're basically out of luck.
Yeah, and that's where teammates really come into play. If you have a good teammate, you're practicing getting hooked up like that, and you got them behind you, both of you can jump up to the outside and really make a charge towards the front. However, you really have to keep that energy. You have to try side drafting the cars as you're passing them without having them side draft you and pulling you back. And it's a really tough balance to manage. And there's some drivers who are naturally really good at it, and there's some drivers who just can't get a handle on it. It's almost like these plate races, your talent has very little to do with it. It's just natural skill and luck, and that's just about it.
Field catching up to Tim Knott to put him at 1 lap down. Tim unfortunately spun out of the lead, but he will be the lucky dog. At the worst, he's going to be the lucky dog, at least the way things are sitting right now. One of the things that you brought up that I found really interesting, and it was discussed a little bit last season, the side draft works different in this car. Instead of the way the drivers have described it to me is, instead of slowing down the car that's you're side drafting, it's more like it's just slingshots you forward, which is a very different feel as compared to the Gen 6 car.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience plate racing with these next-gen cars, so I couldn't give too much insight on that. However, it almost does look that way. You got to ride up right against the side of somebody if you really want to make some moves. It's tough in the sim racing world because we do have to deal with netcode.
Yeah, it's always going to be a concern of. It's not just the skill level of the driver you're racing against, but it's the quality of his. Oh, we've got one hard into the wall. McConville upside down to the back straightaway. Multiple cars going to be involved. It's the first big one of the night.
And it just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah, they're still wrecking in the middle of turn 3. That one was huge.
Well, it looks like our race car is junked. I guess I'm getting laid off.
Yes, you are. It looks like maybe Tim Knott may have been involved in this one as well. Yeah, he got way down to the inside of the racetrack, and there's not much you can do from there. Try to get the car. I tell you what, another great save there. That is impressive by Tim Knott. Take a look here little bit further back again from Richard Fletcher. See what happened to him. Same kind of deal. A little bit of ping balling, but not too much here. Unfortunately, the same can't be said here for Mike McConville. He got turned and is barrel rolling down the back straightaway. Big time ARCA brakes from deep in the field. That's one of those, though, Patrick, where it's almost like shoot for where they are because they'll be gone by the time you get there.
Yeah, except here at Daytona, you shoot for where they are, they'll be gone, but someone else will be right there.
Yeah, and the other one, it is so counterintuitive, but 99% of the time, it's applicable. Get to the outside wall, because everybody's going to start sliding down to the inside of the racetrack. But it kind of depends on where you catch them in the wreck, because if you're right at the very beginning of it, you get inside because it's just going to kind of pull everybody up to the outside. The forces involved are going to pull all these race cars to the outside. If you're a little bit later in the pack, get to the outside because they'll have been down the racetrack. Unfortunately, not a lot you can do there, and we're looking at almost half the field involved.
See, I've always preferred the inside line, especially going down the backstretch, just because if there's an incident that happened in front of me, I can dive down. I have room to dive down below that yellow line and avoid the wreck. Where if you're on that outside, you're going towards that outside wall, you can only move up as far as that wall is. My philosophy works for me about 50% of the time. I'd say going to the outside works for you about 50% of the time. It's really just, like I say about this track every time we come here. I don't think there should be a race here. The drivers should just stand on the infield. There should be a big roulette table. Everyone puts their chip on a number, and wherever it lands on, that's who wins the race. Because this track is just, it's all luck. I don't want to say it's all luck, but a lot of it is luck. Just, do you get caught up in the wreck? Do you have the draft on your side that day? Do you have a good partner? There is so much that is out of your control at this track.
Well, and from 17th place, Richard Fletcher, all the way back, they have all been on pit road or are out of the race. Richard Fletcher, Max Williams, Nick Curling, Andrew Moore Jr., Corey Silva, A.J. Digby, Mark Bruning, Mike McConville, Tyler Seville, Hunter Waters, Tim Knott, Ryan Nicoletta, Corbin Simmons, and Brian Wasserman, all going to be involved here. Almost half the field, as we mentioned. And incredibly, lights are already out. We are going to get ready to go back green flag racing. So short caution flags here, and thank you very much for that, by the way, administration team. Roger Rios will be the race leader, and he will restart this one from the inside lane. Doug Mullen's going to line up to his outside. Rick Javorka, Jacob Williams on row 2. Ruben Phillips, Brad Allison on row 3. Kevin Dick, Brandon Stokes, row 4. Johnny Avila and Will Worsler on row number 5. Seeing Clay Kennedy checking in the comments here saying, let's go WWR. Thank you very much for checking in with us tonight here, Clay. We appreciate that. Hopefully everybody is enjoying the show. You can catch the National Racing Network on YouTube and on Twitch. So make sure you check us out on both of those platforms. Also, Facebook at National Racing Network, Instagram at National Racing Network. We're also on the Tweeter box at the NRN TV. Field back underway, green flags in the air, and off we go again at Daytona. Going to be a big old shot in the rear end up the outside from the 2 of Jacob Williams. trying to shove Doug Mullins to the front. On board here with Roger Rios.
Now, on the back of that 56 car, did I see a Nissan and a GTR logo on the back of that thing?
Oh, man, gosh, they're almost beating and banging already here. Good Lord. Let's take a look here. That was the
16.
The 16 of Doug Mullins. Let's see here. That is
okay.
That is a Nissan. That's fantastic.
So we have a field full of Ford, Chevys, Toyotas being outpaced by a Nissan.
That is correct.
That's fantastic.
Now,
as a Nissan owner, that is fantastic.
Mike McConville checking in the comments say, Big Mac is big angry. That's the way the comment reads on the screen here. I can understand the frustration there, but at the same time, we're coming up to the end of the stage. You need the bonus points. Now, obviously, you have to be there at the end, but is that one of those where it's still too early for go time, or what's your thought process there?
It depends. I haven't done a lot of stage racing, so I haven't put much thought into it, but if you're going into this for the long haul, for the full championship, and you know you're not good at the plate races, especially towards the end, but you're up front towards the end of one of the stages, I say absolutely go for it. Full send, try and get that stage point. So, really, it just depends on your situation.
Yeah, that's... Some of these guys love the plate racing. Some of them hate plate racing. The big one for me is, it creeps into... I know it does for me when I'm driving one of these racetracks. If you don't have a backup car available, it weighs on your mind a little bit, knowing that there is no do-over. You've got to make that piece last to the end.
See, for me, I've always been a get the second, be content with second or fourth. I either want to be first, second car in the row on the top line or the bottom line. Sit there all the way till we get about 2 to go, and then I make my move. But I don't know. With this next-gen car, it seems like it races a lot differently than the ARCA car that we have and the Gen 6 car.
Yeah, that's one of those that it really does feel like a completely different kind of racing. Oh, man, big moment there for Kevin Dick. Forces the 06 of Ruben Phelps on the binders.
Oh, man!
Oh, we've got one car around. Now 3-4 more down to the inside of the racetrack. They're wrecking down onto pit lane. Caution flag number 2 is out. And this could be ugly for some of these drivers because where that wreck happened, we're very likely to have some unsafe pit entries, speeding on pit lane, etc. here. Let's take a look here and see if we can get the look from Will Worsler. Big contact there. Worsler able to dive down to the inside. Several other drivers not going to be so lucky here. Yeah, there's several cars that are going to get that speeding penalty, unsafe pit entrance. That makes things a mess here.
Since we do have a live admin team, they can clear that. However, no matter what, since the caution had come out, it depends actually if the caution came out before or after, although I see those red lights on the pit entrance. They called the caution pretty quick. That's going to be an EOL regardless, which is unfortunate since he did avoid the accident pretty well. But unfortunately, iRacing, no matter what, will give you an EOL for that.
I'll tell you what, if that's the worst you're going to get out of that situation, that's not bad here. See what happened?
Yeah.
There's the two almost going upside down. Man, a lot of beat-up race cars here once again as we work under the caution flag. So it looks like lights are out on the iRacing safety truck. Field's going to be doubled up and getting ready to go back to green flag racing here next time by. Doug Mullins, Roger Rios, Rick Javorka, Kevin Dick, Johnny Avila, the top 5. Terry Mustard Jr., Scott Grove, Justin Sumner, and Tony Patton, your top 10. I'll tell you what, Patrick, perhaps the biggest beneficiaries of this, guys like Terry Mustard Jr. Remember, he started shotgun on the field tonight. 23 positions gained thus far. Scotty Grove up 17. Tony Patton up 18.
Yeah, these guys who were all at the back of the pack, they were just chilling. They had time to avoid these wrecks. And now they're up towards the front. I mean, looking through, your top 4 have pretty much stayed in the top 10 the entire race from qualifying to now. Everyone else started in the back half of the field or even further back. It's really all your upper mid-pack guys that have been taken out of this thing. So things could get dicey up here.
We're looking forward to it. You see the field doubled up here. Don't count out the 28 of Troy Haight. He's back on the lead lap, currently running in the 14th position as green flag goes back in the air. We are underway once again here at the World Center of Racing. Two distinct packs starting to break away now. Top 6 pulling away from Scotty Grove and Terry Mustard Jr. That pack's going to work its way back up fairly quickly, though. On board here with race leader Roger Rios. I tell you what, I'm a little surprised they're finally getting up into 5th gear only towards the end of the back straightaway. It's a long time to get these things wound up.
I mean, even with the old Gen 6 car, going further back, it took about a lap to get the car wound up all the way. They restrict these things so much at these bigger tracks that you really got to wait for them to give everything they've got before they're actually going fast.
It's almost like the car needs the aero help, whether it's lined up behind you, alongside you, whatever it is. you need that aerodynamic assistance if you're going to get the car fully up to full song, so to speak.
Not only that, at 200 miles an hour, that air is basically the consistency of water. So really, every mile an hour you grab, once you're at these higher speeds, it is a ton for that engine to try and push out.
Let's take a look here. Go on board with Kevin Dick. What is it, 32 degrees of banking in the corners here?
Something like that. It's steep.
It's you look at it on TV and it does not do it justice.
No, even the tri-oval doesn't seem that steep, but from climbing it when I went down a couple years ago and then climbing it again just recently, it's like climbing a mountain. It's very, very steep, and it's easy to lose your footing and fall and roll your way down like some of these race cars do after hitting the wall.
I'll tell you what, it's 18 degrees of banking in the tri-oval. That's more than the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is. That's 9 degrees, 12 minutes of banking in the corners there. And Indy, you look at it, Indy is not flat by any stretch.
No, but when you compare Indy to a track like Daytona, Indy is flat. And that's not taking anything away from Indy. That's just how banked this place is.
Yeah, it makes you really appreciate a place like Martinsville that is actually practically board flat in the corners. Field coming up on Mike McConville here. He will go another lap down. Have a message here from Race Control saying they're clearing the black flags of the drivers that got them coming down pit lane. They're reviewed at the end of the race as well if anybody who asked for a black flag clear was trying to gain an advantage on it. So, and knowing the way the admin team works, they're not going to take kindly to somebody trying to game the system on that.
No, and if you're trying to game the system, your penalty should be next time you ask for black clear, if you were deserving of it, doesn't matter, you got to take that penalty for the rest of the season. I mean, admins are being nice clearing it. Don't take advantage of them.
So the top 8 running side by side. It's now Roger Rios holding the race lead, but Doug Mullen's going to come back to reclaim that as the field works through turns 1 and 2. Have to make a couple of big-time thank yous here, and we'll give you a little behind-the-scenes peek here. We had to do some upgrading today here at the National Racing Network, so unfortunately we don't have the sponsor graphics up for tonight. They'll be back next week, though. How about this one? The overall champion of the league, presented by SimSpeedShop.com, will receive a NASCAR-style wheel. Buttons integrated, the whole bit. The spring and fall champions are going to receive a button box, courtesy of SimSpeedShop.com. That's really pretty spectacular. Also have 3 additional button boxes for the safe driver draw. Sam Maxwell is very big on maintaining real-world equivalent driving standards, and the fewer penalties you have, you're going to be entered into a drawing for those button boxes. Also need to say a big thank you to Northland Leisure, coming up with a cash sponsor for some of the stage winners. Also, the fastest lap of the race, presented by Realty Executives Saskatoon. Thank you very much for checking in with us for our friends north of the border. Custom Paints and Diecast putting up some cash for the hard charger. And the biggest loser of the night right now, that appears to be, or at least likely candidate, Ruben Phelps, down 22 positions. He's running in the 26th position. And also Tim Knott, he may be biggest loser. Down 21, currently running in the 23rd position, but he was wrecked out of this, basically out of the race lead in that second incident.
And Tim Knott's coming. It looked like he was coming down for the pits for a second there.
Well, yeah, see,
not-
this is the strategy game that I was going to ask about here, Patrick. I would imagine the pits are going to close with 2 laps to go in the stage, as is kind of normal NASCAR procedure. Could you stop here? I don't think you can get enough fuel in the car to make it to the end of the race. It's only going to get you to about 77 or 78. But is it worth the risk, assuming you're going to get late cautions?
I don't know. That's a tough call to make. If it were me, I wouldn't. Now I'm getting ready to say it, and then I'm like, it's not a great idea. There's so many different ways you could take it. I don't know if I want to say one way, and I know it's going to end up a whole different way. So you're going to see some drivers pit. You're going to see some try to stay out, and we'll be watching here, waiting to see what strategy comes out on top. How about that?
I would imagine if you're in that top 10 pack or so, you're not going to make the dive down pit road. You don't want to give up the stage points. At the same time, if you're 10th place Tony Patton and 3.5 seconds back, why not take the shot? Oh, and we've got contact again! 2
there
cars
goes
sliding
Eddie
down to
from-
the inside of the racetrack. That was Doug Mullins involved in that. Doug Mullins leading a significant portion of this race early on. He is going to be out of this race, has to take the tow.
And unfortunately, our second Japanese competitor is out of the field. Nissan, it was nice to have you in NASCAR. It's a shame to see you go tonight.
Take a look here and see what happened on the instant replay. Man, just big contact with the inside safer barrier. That car basically going to be junk for Doug Mullins. It will keep us under the green flag, though. That's one of the things I love about Daytona. There's a lot of runoff room down to the inside. If you have an issue, you can. If the car gets down beneath that yellow line, it's not going to bring out a caution flag.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about sim racing versus real-world racing. We don't have to throw yellow for that because we don't need ambulances and safety personnel to go and run out and help them. They can press the ESC key on their keyboard, escape out of that car, and they're safe.
Yeah, everybody has that button. It's, for lack of a better term, the oh shit button on your steering wheel. That is, get me out of here now. And it's more used in situations like where you've had an incident and you're kind of sitting broadside to the racetrack or something. So long as the button box works. If yours doesn't, pick one up at simspeedshop.com. See what I did with the plug there?
That was clever. That was a good one.
We're going to be hitting dad jokes before the end of this thing. Working lap number 37. They will be 1 lap to go here in stage number 2. When they come around this next time by, Roger Rios leading the pack.
Chris, I don't think dad jokes are a good idea. I was making them before in the pre-race, and I got kicked from the call.
That is correct. It was a well-deserved kick, too. The outside lane trying to get warmed up here, but just not enough help to make it move. That's the 55 of Scotty Grove. The 63 of Johnny Avila tucked up right behind him. And the gap back to the second pack is now 8 seconds, and it continues to grow. Tells me we might have some damaged race cars towards the front of that second pack here, but off at turn number 4, green and white checkered flag will go in the air. Barring anything crazy, it will be Roger Rios leading the field back. he will win stage number 2. Now the question becomes, when does the caution flag fly? There it is. I believe Scotty Grove may be your race leader at the moment of caution. Not going to be a huge deal, as I would imagine you're going to see all of your race leaders down pit road. So far, Corey Silva making a stop at lap number 14. He's raced his way back up into the 7th position. Everybody else from 11th place, Justin Sumner, on up to the front of the field, has not made a stop yet. Everybody else has stopped at either lap 14 or at the lap 22 caution. So stage break coming up here, and a little bit of a chance to kind of reset and catch your breath here, Patrick.
Yeah, and stage break is nice, especially at a track like this where you're wide open the whole time. I don't know how stiff these guys' throttle springs are, but mine gets so stiff after about 40 or so laps this track, my leg starts to get a little bit tired. It's nice to have a little break, let off for a bit, and just relax.
Let's take a look here and see if we can find pick up our stage 2 winner, Mr. Roger Rios. And tell you what, brother, congratulations. You dodged some carnage and able to put together the stage 2 win and pick up the bonus points on offer here. Okay, well, we'll take Roger back to his team here, back to Pie-Eyed Racing. Actually, let's pull up the tower here. You'll get to see where everybody is as they come off of pit lane. Rios will be the first car to get into his box crew around service already completed on the right-hand side. They'll go to work on the left for fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles. 2 cans of Sunoco Racing Fuel. Battle off of pit lane is going to be a good one, and it's going to be Kevin Dick winning the race off of pit road. So we'll have a new race leader. Kevin Dick will lead the field back to green. Nick Curling going to be second off a pit lane. Taking a look here at the time of the stops, 14.63 seconds for Kevin Dick, 8.58 for Nick Curling. He stopped under one of the earlier caution flags, so maybe a little bit of a short fuel there he's able to take advantage of. 15.55, pretty slow stop there for the crew of Roger Rios. Getting another note here from Race Control. Each race has a payout which will pay almost throughout the entire field, which is pretty fantastic. Reaching almost $800 in total season purse spread throughout the season. That is not bad in the way of coin going out the door to some of these drivers.
Oh, and that'll definitely keep the field around, especially if you're almost just getting green money. Just take the green flag, go out and run the race. We'll give you money for it. That's the way I like to own race.
You know what? The other one was, it is a fairly low barrier to entry as well. I believe the per race fee was $1 per driver. You're not asking much. $28 gets you all 28 races. You're paid up through December. I love a league like that. I mean, obviously there's a place for some of the big money stuff. But this kind of helps with the continuity of, hey, I've got a little bit invested, and there's the potential for a little bit of return here as well.
Yeah, it's $28. What, a night of bowling costs you that much, if not more.
And admin saying, or pay in full for 20. That's fantastic. So you get
Even better.
8 weeks free. So the field is doubled up. Conclusion of the third caution flag of the night. The first one, not for an incident. We'll see Kevin Dick lined up alongside Nick Curling, Roger Rios, and AJ Digby on row 2. Corey Silva, Johnny Avila on row 3. Row 4, Richard Fletcher, Will Worsler. Mark Bruning, Troy Haight on row number 5. Green flags in the air. We are back underway here at the World Center of Racing. Going on board with Andrew Moore Jr. down the back straightaway. Field finally getting everything wound up. Now, Patrick, we're in the second half of this race. The nice guys stuff, I would imagine, is probably going to go out the window here pretty quickly. Maybe once we get a little bit closer to, say, lap 60 or so, it's really going to be go time at that point.
Yeah, the first probably 80% of any race at Daytona is just an interview. You're interviewing yourself with all the drivers showing, hey, this is what I've got. I'm fast. You should pair up with me to the end. And that's what everyone is doing. And then come the last 15, 20 laps or so, you find that guy. You find that guy who impressed you. If you impressed him, you guys get together and you push each other to the win. Hopefully one of you wins, one of you finishes second, and hopefully you don't both wreck each other, because that's a lot of times what ends up happening.
Everybody now single filed out back through 16th place. Terry Mustard Jr. They are all within a very short paddle of each other for the lead. Even back to like 19th place Tony Patton, there's a little bit of a gap that's opening there. I would tend to think at this point, Brad Allison, Richard Smith, Tony Patton, they've probably lost the draft back here with that gap sitting now over 1 second. Definitely not a spot you want to be in there side by side when everybody else up ahead is, well, for the most part anyway, playing nice.
I wouldn't worry too much. They're not going to play nice for very long.
At this point now, you don't have the ability to make any air pressure adjustments in the tires. You're kind of stuck with what you've got, especially with the way the pit rules work. You only had 2 sets of tires. If you're one of the cars that stopped once, you've still got a set on the box. Everybody else that stopped 2 or 3 times is most likely out of their allotment of tires. So now we're into the game of no changes, nothing you can do from inside the race car. This is kind of hold on to what you got.
China with the Gen 6 car, it was possible to go a whole 80 lap long race, even a 100 lap long race on one set of tires. With this next gen car, I just don't know really. I haven't done any long runs on this car, but I'd imagine with the independent rear suspension, it can get kind of hairy and kind of greasy out there once those tires quit sticking.
Well, that was kind of my thought was before you had with the straight rear axle, you were getting the weight either planted on the right side or planted on the left side at the super speedways. Now you can really work to plant the weight on both. You know, it's not like you're just going to have the right side of the car loaded up. You can really work the rear suspension to help the car turn in the corners and maybe balance that load out a little bit as well.
To say that's definitely the biggest thing. I know when I build like my USF 2000 setups or my Indy Pro 2000 setups, I build those all off the left side of the car, even on the ovals, trying to get the cars equally balanced side to side. Because since everything's all independent, you want 4 tires sticking to the ground helping you around those corners instead of the traditional oval thought where you want the right side tires. Because in the oval world, the NASCAR world, we say 8 tires is better than 4. But when you have 4 tires on the car, 4 tires are better than 2. So it's really a whole new setup philosophy that these guys have to come to terms with.
Yeah, that's going to be the big change that we see with these next-gen cars. And at this point, the next-gen is not a new car to the iRacing service at this point. Was around all of last season. We're now into season 2021 or 2022, season 2. This really is a car that, for the most part, these teams should have a pretty decent handle on.
I wouldn't say that just because of the amount of updates this car has gone through. You got to remember, we got this car before a lot of the NASCAR teams even had one of these built. So we had a development version, then we had an update, and then another update right when the season started, or for the Coliseum, the class race. Then we had an update for Daytona. Another little update, I believe, came around the time of Atlanta. So basically every couple of weeks, these guys have had to contend with a whole new car in the simulator.
Scott Wise giving us a social shout here. I've run full-length races in the next gen, changing right sides just once. That really tells me that, with the exception of the cheese graters like Darlington, Atlanta, etc., this car is really pretty gentle on the tires.
Well, I would have to give that up to the low-profile tire. With a 15-inch rim and a high-profile tire, that tire is flexing around a lot. So you're building up a lot of heat in that tire. You're really moving that rubber around and shredding rubber off the tire. With these low-profile tires, they're not flexing and moving as much, so not as much is getting worked off of them.
That also goes back to a little bit of the change in thought on the geometry of the suspension settings, in that with the high-profile tire, you had a certain spring rate to that tire. You really don't have that anymore with the low-profile tires. So you're looking at, you have to do more work with the springs, even being a little bit more precise with the spring rate, because you're not getting any benefit from the tire itself.
One advantage, though, and I don't want to get too technical, but one advantage is, since everything is all independent, you can run a lot higher spring pressures. You don't have to rely on the mechanical grip so much. You can run much higher spring pressures, which allows you to use a lot more of that aero grip, too, which your aero grip is going to hurt the tires a lot less than your mechanical grip. So with mechanical grip, you're relying on that tire flexing. You're requiring everything to kind of flex that much more. And it's going to set the car up to slide just that little bit more, and you're really going to start shredding tires off, I think.
Well, while we're talking suspension geometry and going to the school of Larry Mack here, we're already to lap 53. I would imagine maybe for some of these guys towards the back, are we approaching go time, or is there still plenty of time left to go here?
Plenty of time left. You got to remember, this track is 2.5 miles long. 10 laps here is my drive to work over the course of a week. So there's still plenty of racing left to be had here. I'd say sit it out just a little bit longer. Keep yourself close enough to be in the game, but don't be in the wreck if it happens.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest thing is keep things under control. Don't make any of the dumb moves here. I mean, we see the top 4. They're even leaving themselves a little bit of a gap. They're not even to the point of pushing hard yet. Maybe we see that come a little bit later, but they're not even interested in trying to open a big gap here either.
No, and there's no need to. A big problem with creating a gap is if you can't hold that gap, you become a sitting duck. Those guys coming from behind, they caught you. That means they're going faster, and that means they're going to blow the doors off you when they come by you. So you don't want to put yourself too far out either.
How about this one here, Patrick? Looks like only 3 cars out of the race at this point. Brian Wasserman, Ryan Nicoletta, and Doug Mullins being scored as out of the race at this point. Seeing, I believe that's the 57 of McConville getting up to the high side of the racetrack and out of the way of the race leaders. More lap traffic just up ahead, but we've still got 19 cars on the lead lap. And with the exception of Richard Smith, Tony Patton, and Brad Allison, they're all right here lockstep together, running in one big pack. A lot can change here with 25 to go.
Yeah, I would put it anywhere between 20 to 15 to go. We see a second line starting to form. People are going to start to get antsy. They're going to want to jump up there and start moving themselves up. And then I say probably 10 to 5 to go. You see someone go for that third line. You see a lot of dicey moves going for the lead. And I say on the last lap, we might have a little bit of a pileup coming up. As these guys are weaving through traffic like a pack of 20 Honda Civics going down the highway at rush hour. Wow.
What do you want there as a driver? Do you want a consistent line to be held by the lap cars, or do you want them to work and get out of your way?
Depends. If I am the leader and there's enough space around them like there was right there, I want them to be just like that. I want maybe me and the guy behind me to be able to follow and kind of weave through and break away just a touch. Whereas if I'm everyone else in the field, I want all the lap cars to either go high or go low, and all of them do the same thing. This way they're nice and predictable, because those guys in third on back.
Oh, we've got contact! One car going around!
Man. I'm amazed he didn't hit anyone. Wow!
Caution flag is out. Good Lord, who was that? Oh, man. Looks like Corey Silva was the car that went around there.
He just got hooked. And wow, really split the gap there. I'm amazed he got through that without basically collecting everyone else.
Wow. Corey Silva, unfortunately, is going to be basically junk here, but let's take a look at this one more time. Yeah, he got straight hooked. We'll see what race control has to say about that one, but obviously not the kind of position you want to be in here, getting yourself hooked around. Now, I would imagine with this caution flag, Patrick, we're talking about everybody should be good to the end on fuel here now with these caution flag laps that we're going to turn.
It'll be tight, but they should be able to make it to the end as long as we don't get a green-white checker.
Trying to take a look back through the field, see who that was. May have been that was involved with the contact there. believe it may have, yeah, it was Rick Javorka. Let's take a look here and see if we can go on board with Rick on that incident. I tell you what, the hands didn't move.
It didn't look intentional. It just kind of looked like car got loose. He tried to chase it down to the inside, and there was a car there.
Yeah, let's see if we can take a look here a little bit further back, maybe. Yeah, man, that is such a hard call to make. That's a tough one for race control. But now seeing a pile of race cars on pit road, everybody from 11th place Scotty Grove on back is on and now making their way off of pit lane. I would imagine here, Patrick, you're probably talking, get the last set of sneakers on it. You have them, might as well use them. Top it off with fuel. Now you know you're good for the green-white checkered. Although I would think at this point everybody's probably good to the green-white checkered.
Probably, but not definitely. Those guys, 11th place on back, those guys are definitely good. Those guys up front, still cutting it kind of close. As you know, some of the fuel numbers drivers give us sometimes are a little inaccurate. They sometimes like the fudge numbers they give us, and, you know, this way we don't give their competitors an advantage. I don't blame them for that, but
well, that
those
was
drivers up.
The number was 41 to 44. All of your leaders stopped at lap number 40. If you're on the low end, you're going to be tight anyway. This caution helps you, gets you to the end. But I don't know that it gets you a green-white checkered here, especially if we have multiples of them.
Yeah, this one could get interesting as we come to the closing laps of it.
Taking a look here at the race leading number 52 custom paints and die casts of Kevin Dick. Kevin driving for one of the Pie-Eyed Racing Team cars. They've got a bunch of cars in that stable. Lining up to his outside will be the number 5 of Roger Rios. Superior Templating and Rise Realism and Simulation Engineering on the side of that Chevrolet Camaro. Row number 2 will have the 91 of Nick Curling, KM Telecom. On the side of that Chevrolet Camaro. And AJ Digby, the rocket ship, returns for another season for Will Worsler Racing. The field already doubled up here. Johnny Avila, we got to give you a look at this car up close. The Giacomo Giacomo throwback, currently running in the 5th position. The car looks pretty darn good out there. Field making their way down through the tri-oval. Green flag's going to go in the air. 20 to go. We're back underway at Daytona. Tell you what, we haven't done one of these in a little bit here. We're coming by the start-finish line. What do you think, fans? Y'all at home, y'all go ahead and crank it up. Oh, we've got big trouble back in the pack. Caution flag is out. They are wadding up a pile of race cars. Oh, and the rest of the field comes through at full speed.
That was full ARCA racing there. I mean, after seeing that, if I owned an ARCA team, I would call all those drivers and they'd have a spot in my race car.
Oh, let's take a look and see what happened here. On board with Rick Javorka. So we've already got cars flying through the screen.
Wow!
My goodness.
I believe we have to check the weather radar. Did it start raining in turn 2? Has rain finally been implemented in iRacing?
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's one way to send the field for a ride.
Oh, man.
Takes the pit strategy questions out of the way here. Rick Javorka's car still sitting motionless on the inside of turn 2. That was a big old hit there. One of the interesting components here of this season, Patrick, is they've implemented a teams component, and I like the way they're doing this. Teams are registered as 4 drivers. So even if you have 5, 6, 7 cars in your Discord channel, you're only registering 4, and you're scoring the top 2. So basically that says, hey, one of your guys can have a bad night, even 2 of your guys can have a bad night. So long as you've got 2 up near the pointy end of the field, you're going to be in good shape. It really gives them something to battle for. I mean, we saw it last season with the Will Worsler Racing team. One of their guys wins, everybody is doing burnouts on the front straightaway. This is a nice way to reward that team camaraderie that's going on.
Yeah, and I like the way they're doing it like that because it takes the crazy advantage some of the huge teams get in some of these team championships. That's a very, very fair way to do it. Definitely a lot more fair than I'd say the way I used to do it when I ran my series. I remember we had a lot of issues with that.
We are on board with Mike McConville here, Patrick. We got a request from Mike.
Days of Thunder much? Oh, man. Oh, man. Does he miss the inside wall? Oh, he does.
Look at that. Well done, Mike McConville. Oh, that was awesome. So, okay, so back to our discussion of the teams here.
I was going to say, I like the way they're doing it because for me it was very hard to come up with a fair way to do it. And it seems like they figured it out, which a lot smarter guys than I am up in that admin booth.
Lot smarter guys than you play the roulette table in Las Vegas. We'll put it that way. We're not even one race into the season, and we're already hammering the color commentators here. So we're now completing lap number 65. So we're going to be inside of 15 to go. Now this is really where it's go time on this thing. Especially if you're the guys lined up in the outside row, you need to get a move on. But take a look at who's going to be there. Roger Rios, one of the fastest cars in the field all night, and Johnny Avila, the guy who dominated this league 1 season ago. They're going to line up nose to tail on the outside lane.
This could get a little spicy coming around the green.
And I'm here for it. Down to 14 cars remaining on the racetrack right now. Looks like we have 12 of them on the lead lap. A whole chunk of the middle of the field, from 15th place Justin Sumner back through 20th place Terry Mustard Jr. They're on pit road after that incident. Tyler Seville, Tim Knott, Hunter Waters, Ruben Phelps, a lot of these guys they're still on the racetrack. Tim Knott looks like he may be out of this one as well, but if you're Mike McConville, you can actually make up a handful of spots here because every lap you continue to turn while somebody else is stationary on pit road, Mike McConville could go from 26th to conceivably as high as 15th.
Purely because he just stuck it out there and drove laps around the track at 40 miles an hour slower than the field. I've done that before. It gets real boring real quick, driving around that much slower.
It's how you build championships, though.
Oh, yeah.
13 laps to go. Roger Rios very quickly down behind Kevin Dick. Going to leave only 2 cars on the outside lane as they head for turn number 1. Now Johnny Avila gets down to the inside. I believe Troy Haight is the only car left in that outside lane. Wasn't Troy Haight backwards and a lap down about 15 laps into this thing?
So, and he seems to have recovered pretty well.
Going to need a little bit of help, though, if he wants to get back up towards the front of the field. Kevin Dick continues to lead. Don't look now, though. Here comes Johnny Avila up on the outside lane of the racetrack. He is getting a huge shove down the front straightaway. I think the problem here is, Patrick, you just lose too much in the corners.
Yeah, you really have to be sucked up right behind the car if you want to go somewhere. And if there's any air gap at all, you're not making up that pace. However, if cars keep jumping that top line, you might.
Good battle shaping up here through turns 3 and 4. Top 2, Kevin Dick, Roger Rios continue to hold things down to the inside. They're going to have A.J. Digby and the 0-3 of Brad Allison working the inside. You can really see it there in the corners, Patrick. You do have to be under the bumper almost to make up any ground in the corners.
Yeah, I know bump drafting's been a term for a while, but you actually have to be bump drafting. And it's very, very difficult with these cars because you have a round front bumper, a round rear bumper. It's not like the old Gen 5 cars, the car tomorrow, where you had a flat front bumper, flat rear bumper, and you could lock together. It's anytime you're touching bumpers, you're trying to spin the car in front.
It is not easy, to say the least, here to get these things hooked up. We're seeing a little bit of movement, though. That 91 of Nick Curling, he's getting close to the front. Now we're down to 10 to go. All bets are off. It's go time at Daytona. First through 12th, all packed up side by side, pace laps at 200 miles an hour. What a shove, gonna put the 91 towards the front, but here comes Johnny Avila on the outside. He's gonna have Will Worsler right up underneath the back bumper.
Never count out Johnny Avila. Dude showed it to us last season. He's trying to show it to us again. I'm going to hold my tongue right there. I don't want to give him the commentator's curse or anything.
The 91 now going to slide up to the outside. Nick Curling going to try to pick up some momentum from that outside lane. Couple of Will Worsler racing cars tucked up together at the front of the field. Also, I'll tell you what, don't count out the fact that that 43 car running third, Richard Fletcher, another Will Worsler racing car. They can really make things difficult now for some of these cars to try to come past. seeing word here, Patrick, that some of these drivers talking about some overheating issues going on. Can you run 8 laps with the water temperature pegged in these things? Maybe?
I'd be afraid to, but if I was going for a race win, I would have some duct tape in the passenger seat of that thing, and I'd be taping over those numbers. I don't care what they read. I'm going to run it till it blows.
Down to 7 to go. Avila, Wurzler, Fletcher, Hayton, Dick, your top 5. First side-by-side battle is going to be Nick Curling and Roger Rios as they fight their way off at turn number 2. Everybody's still nicely playing here. I would imagine the kid gloves are going to come off pretty quick. If you're Will Wurzler and you see that line developing, do you have to jump out of line to block it?
There really depends on the moment. Sometimes it feels right to jump across and block it. Sometimes you just got to stick with who's behind you. It's really hard to say. It just depends on the situation.
I'll tell you what, Wurzler was way up under the bumper of Johnny Avila that time down the back straightaway, giving him every bit of shove he possibly could. They're going to do it again through the tri-oval here, trying to open up the gap, and it seems to work here as we're down to 5 to go. You just have to wonder, when does the big move come? If you're Richard Fletcher, this is a chance to pick up a huge win early on in this season. I mean, that has implications even for the playoff battles down that are coming much later in the year. Getting a win early is incredibly important.
Yeah, because when it comes to playoffs, if it's a win, you're in a format. You have nothing to worry about the rest of the season until the playoffs start. You can take risks. You can try and build up those wins, try and deny other people from getting the championship. But if you have a bad night, it's not the end of the world.
At the very least, you're talking the first 14 race season. You want the win there early on. When you break it down into seasons like that, it really is fairly short when you think about it. It's only a couple of weeks longer than a regular iRacing season.
Yeah, so you want the win today so you can get yourself to the playoffs in a 14-week season, and so you can do it again in the big overall season. A win tonight is immensely powerful.
Next week, we head off to Homestead Miami Speedway, followed by an off week, Martinsville, Dover, Darlington. It's going to be wild, but maybe not as good as these last couple laps are going to be. Avila and Wurzler still nose to tail at the front. Side by side now, Dick and Fletcher drag racing through the tri-oval. About 4 miles to go as the field makes their way off of turn number 2. Avila still holding on at the front. Wurzler still right up under that spoiler. Kevin Dick may need some help. The question becomes, is Will Worsler content to push teammate Johnny Avila to the win? I mean, I'm thinking about white flag, 1 to go. Will Worsler, he does not like this car. This is a playoff shot on the line if he can get around the teammate.
The team owner and him is saying, let Johnny Avila have it, because you know Johnny Avila can win a championship in these things. The driver part of him is saying, give me that win, I want to go for it this time. And we're going to see what move he decides to make coming to the checkered flag here.
Through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Will we see the move off of turn number 4? Oh, there's contact!
Oh,
Avila's down to the inside! Checkered flag in the air! Will Worsler gets the win! Huge moment for Kevin Dick, but he comes home second.
Oh, we got our answer. Will Worsler is in it to win it this season.
Wow, what a finish! Will Worsler gets the win in a thriller at Daytona.
Can we get an onboard of that? Was it just a bad bump, or did he push him out of the way?
Well, let's take a look here. We'll get ready to go on board. And what the hell? We're going to slow this down a little bit, too. Let's take a look. You know what? That was trying to get squared up on the bumper.
I just looked like a bad bump. I don't think there was anything malicious behind that. But I don't think Will Worsler is too upset at the outcome.
No, I don't think he is either. He is going to be a happy man to talk to here in Victory Lane.
The real question is, we know all the WWR guys. Those guys like to celebrate together. Will Johnny Avila still come up with that checker flag and celebrate with him?
Oh, I love the comments. Nikki Worsler checking in. We got to get this one up on the screen here. What the hell did you do, Will? I'm sure it was an accident. There's your answer. They got them all lined up here at the start-finish line.
There we go.
The party
We see
is
Johnny
on.
Avila doing some burnouts. He's not mad. He knows he can win it some other week.
Oh my goodness. Let's show you the race results here from Daytona. Will Worsler by 67 thousandths of a second over Kevin Dick. Another 300ths of a second back to Richard Fletcher. Top three within a tenth of a second at the finish. Roger Rios and Troy Haight round out the top five. Recovery drive of the night for Troy Haight. Scotty Grove, Tony Patton, Nick Curling, Johnny Avila, and A.J. Digby will complete the top 10. 11 to 15, Andrew Moore, Brad Allison, Mark Bruning, Brandon Stokes, and Tyler Seville. Hunter Waters, Ruben Phelps, Richard Smith, Justin Sumner, and Jacob Williams will complete your top 20. 21 to 25, Max Williams, Rick Javorka, Terry Mustard Jr., Mike McConville, and Tim Knott. Corey Silva, Corbin Simmons, Doug Mullins, Ryan Nicoletta, and Brian Wasserman will round out your field here this evening. I'll tell you what, the run for Will Worsler was good, but a huge shout out here to Richard Fletcher with a fantastic run tonight. Man alive, that one was a ton of fun, and we'll start queuing up our drivers here for the Victory Lane interviews. And we are going to start things off with our third place finisher here tonight. pick up Richard Fletcher, and oh man, I'll tell you what, brother, it was a hell of a show you guys put on. Congratulations on a hard-fought third-place finish here this evening. Wait, did we lose him? Richard, do you have a copy on us? I'm seeing his mic's muted. Hopefully, Richard has a microphone here that he can talk to us here. Let's drop him back out. We'll pick up our runner-up finisher here tonight, Mr. Kevin Dick. And, man, I'll tell you what, we talked a little bit here in the pre-race, Kevin, a little bit of get-to-know-you type stuff, but, man, it looked like a fun show out there. What was it like from your perspective?
Yeah, it was pretty good. A lot of fun. Running up there with Roger, working together as a team, trying to keep up front, so we didn't really have to worry too much about stuff. Having a drafting partner was pretty key. You need more than 2 cars, though. You at least needed 3 to be able to keep that line working the way you want it to. So when it was me, Roger, and Andrew there working on the outside, when we cleared the inside, that was pretty much what we wanted. But once Andrew got, back a little bit, so it was just me and Roger. I mean, we held our own there for quite a while, but just those cautions or whatnot, I think, is what sort of got us, because it seemed like those first couple laps after caution, stuff was just a little bit different. Cars just pushed a little bit different, and that outside lane was able to get by us, and we knew if we stayed together, we had a shot to at least get back up there. But again, we needed that third car. We couldn't just do it on our own, and the 91 really wasn't helping us too much there. So, I mean, once that lead pack got those like around the half second or so ahead, we had like a huge steam. I thought maybe we could have got a little bit more farther up there, but I mean, I got up far enough that I was able to keep up there, but just didn't have the help behind until Roger got there, and then coming to the line with the one car getting turned there, coming to the line, and everyone else checking up. I thought maybe we would have had something, but I mean, I'll still take a second here. I mean, it's plate racing, so you never know what's going to happen.
And I'll tell you what, probably a pretty big momentum boost here as one of the new drivers to the series. You have an established team like Will Worsler Racing running ahead of you guys. You start to see that break loose. I'm assuming you didn't think you would see a teammate on teammate violence issue there coming to the line. What goes through your head? Like, is this my chance, or is it more, don't wad this thing up?
Nah, I mean, we're going for the win at that point. I mean, it's Daytona.
Well, I'll tell you what, bud, it was a fantastic run. Congratulations on the second place finish here tonight. And let's make sure we let you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in.
Sounds good. I like to thank the guys at Pie-Eyed. They're a great team. I'm sure you'll hear more from us throughout this season. Give a shout out to Custom Paints at Diecast and you guys up in the booth.
All right, bud. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And let's bring in our third place finisher again here. Let's see. There he is. We've got Mr. Richard Fletcher with us here. And, man, I'll tell you what, bud, after last season maybe didn't go the way you might have hoped, this has got to be just pretty damn spectacular to come home third in the season opener at Daytona.
Chris, this is something that I have never, I've dreamed of, but never thought I would even get a podium, and this is just fantastic. Everything worked tonight. Everything just went together.
You know what? We're getting a ton of love here in the comments from Nikki Worsler for you. She's pretty darn excited. I would imagine Will and the rest of the team is too. But man, what's the thought process like here? You're coming to go. You're following Johnny and Will. The boss and one of the best in the business are ahead of you. All of a sudden, things start to happen off of turn 4. What's going through your head there?
Well, with 5 laps to go, I'm in third, and we're talking, me and Will and Johnny are constantly talking about this. And Will had one time he pulled out to get some air, or he slowed down a little bit, and he didn't give me enough warning, and all of a sudden I'm right on him, and it's like, Will, please give me some warning next time. He says, okay, sorry about that. So, we're still working it. And I'm thinking that as tight as we are in that pack together, that I don't think anybody's going to catch us. So we get down to 2 laps to go. I'm still working this. And now I start getting nervous because, of course, like, Chris, like you said, no, I've never finished this high. And so I'm thinking, okay, don't screw this up. Don't screw this up. And I was trying to get it out of my mind that there's 2 laps to go. I kept thinking, 20 laps to go. Let's just 1 lap at a time. Then it all went south. And I was just happy to get third.
I'll tell you what, man, it was a fantastic run for you tonight. There was, quite frankly, carnage throughout the field at various points. Only a tiny little bit of left front damage we see on that car. It really speaks to your development as a driver to avoid that mess when it's coming around you. Man, I am absolutely thrilled for you. A fantastic run tonight, and let's make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you out of here too.
Okay, I got to thank Nikki. She has been there for me day one. I mean, when I was terrible, well, I'm still terrible, but when I was really terrible, she was always there supportive. My teammates, you cannot get a better group of guys. Will, AJ, Johnny, you've got Tyler, who's been he is our counselor. He counsels us all about stay calm, relax. He's the cool one in the group. You got Doug was racing tonight, had a great night. Hunter come in to help us tonight. We worked with him some. He had some troubles. I'm sorry if I forget anybody, but it was just great. Thanks my sponsor, Custom Paints. They've been great with me. So I'm just tickled. I'm going to go party all night long.
Man, that was a lot of fun, man. I am absolutely psyched for you here. Congratulations on picking up a podium finish tonight, and now it's time to bring in the guy who, well, he had an adventurous white flag lap here, but he's your race winner tonight, Mr. Will Worsler. Talk us through that one. You were absolutely tucked up under a Johnny Avila. You couldn't put a piece of paper between those 2 cars for the last 10 or 15 laps or so. How were you able to do that with basically you were lining up? It's like hitting a baseball almost. You're hitting a round object with a round object.
Right. It's not easy. It's not something I'm particularly good at, which was on display off of turn 4 on the last lap. The plan was to get Johnny in the lead with him being in front of me and push him and be a 1-2-3 WWR finish. Johnny get the win, me second, Fletcher third, and as far as the pushing, man, it was only a thing. It was only doable because Johnny's a smooth driver. He's very good at holding his line and makes it easy to push him. And I was really just trying to stick right on him, be connected all the way on both ends, on the back stretch and the front stretch, and back off and breathe my car a little bit for temperature purposes, and and mitigate risk, because you don't want to bump anybody in the middle of the turn unless you really know what you're doing, and you don't really want to do it anymore than you have to. So I was trying not to touch him in the turns and be right on him on exit. And it was working out really good. Plan was going perfectly fine. And right as I was telling him off of turn 4, I'm sticking behind you, not trying to pass, I touched him as I was moving to the right a little bit and got him loose. And it got me the win, but I wrecked a teammate via incompetence and got the win. So yoo-hoo for me, but it don't feel good. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, it's funny. The comment from Nikki in the comments was, "What the hell
Lord.
did you do, Will?"
Yeah. Yes. Well, so every time I get done with a race, I have a plethora, this buffet of text messages from my wife, and it's stuff that could be anything from the first of the race to the last 3 laps. And this time it read something like, "Has Fletcher ever had an interview before? What the hell did you do to Avila? Tell Richard his microphone's muted." So so yeah, I appreciate her support, and And I got some other people that watch my races from work, Clay and Brandon and Mario and one of my buddies, Craig Stikes, and some other people from time to time. So I got some fan support, so to speak, and teammates. Especially at a track like this, an event like this, make a big difference. And WWR, like we're really like sticking together and like working together, and it makes races like this way more fun, and it makes it possible to get a win and have a good team outing. Hate what happened off of 4. I'll have to, buy Johnny a cartoon iRacing dinner or something. I don't know, but we'll have to get it figured out. But where I don't wreck him anymore, he should have had this win, but it was a fun race.
I'll tell you what, we talked to you last season, and you absolutely despised these cars less than a year ago. Are you still feeling that way about them, or you a little bit sweeter on them now following this one?
No, I still feel the same way. I'm still playing catch up. What makes it worse is I for the last month and a half or so, I've been offline as far as iRacing and pretty much everything else goes. I've sold a house, bought a house, remodeling, and so I've I still got settings that are not set up right for this stuff. So I'm been playing in a windowed mode. I'm not used to racing with borders, but
Now I don't think that time off is going to hurt you very much. I almost think that'll help you. Having that full reset from all sim racing in general, you have a
right.
fresh start to go with this car versus having all that experience from last week at the B spec car coming back to this thing. So
Yeah,
I almost feel like that break is going to help you guys throughout the season.
it could. I mean, right before the end of last season, I talked to Sam Maxwell, one of the league owners, and he had kind of walked me through some and found some issues that I was having with my steering that seems to only affect this car. And so I still haven't got a chance to test all that and see what works for me and what I need to do. I can do really good on a plate track till the last lap, evidently. So have to see how next week turns out, I guess.
All right, buddy. Well, congratulations on picking up the win here. As we got the fireworks and smoke blowing off around you coming down the backstretch. Congratulations on picking up the season opening win for the Sim Racers Club, and let's make sure you get all those sponsor plugs and thank yous in before we let you out of here.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys doing the broadcast. You do a good job, as always. Appreciate the league owners, Sam and the two Jordans. Appreciate my sponsor, Willoughby Roofing and Sheet Metal and Custom Paints and Diecast, Jordan Berry, for all the WWR paints. High Flow Industrial and Environmental Services. They've been a WWR sponsor for years, and got to thank my wife for all her support and making it a lot easier for grown men to play video games on Wednesday night. And all the teammates and stuff on my team. That makes it a lot more fun and a lot easier to get good results when you got guys like that on your team.
Well, I tell you what, buddy, it was a fantastic show that you guys were putting on here tonight, and looking forward to what we see out of the Will Worsler Racing team. You guys are a heck of a show every week, quite frankly. So congratulations on that one. We're looking forward to talking to you more as the season rolls on here. And I'll tell you what, Patrick, this was a little bit of everything. We had some insanity. We had some craziness. This race truly had it all.
And we had a finish that only Daytona could deliver. I mean, you had team owner, not intentionally, but still wrecking a teammate for the win. I mean, that's almost something Tony Stewart would have done to Clint Boyer a couple years ago. I mean, it was just fantastic.
Yes, it was interesting to say the least here, and quite frankly, we're going to get to see a lot more of it over the course of the season. Getting the graphics updated here so we can show you the schedule over the next couple of weeks. This one has been a truly wild ride here tonight. Next week, we head off to the Homestead Miami Speedway. Going to follow that up with visits to, got to check here, I believe it is.
I believe you said Martinsville, Dover, Darlington.
Homestead, Martinsville, Dover, Darlington, through the month of May. I tell you what, these cars are going to put on a show at Homestead. Not sure what more you can say about that. It's a place you can run 3-4 lanes wide. You can really do a lot of, quite frankly, just insane things coming up here.
I have a love-hate and really mostly a hate relationship at Homestead. Nothing against the track. I'm sure it's a fantastic track. It just doesn't agree with me.
Yes. That's more a lack of talent there, bud, but we'll give it to you. But with that, it is time for us to get the heck on out of here. I have to say a huge thank you to everybody behind the scenes of the National Racing Network who makes these broadcasts possible. We had abject chaos here around NRN World Global Master Control Headquarters. Yes, just abject insanity everywhere you look. It was a lot of fun, though, getting everything set up and ready to go for the Sim Racers Club. Tomorrow night, we'll be coming back with the Ezra IndyCar Series, and we're going to follow it up with the Indy Pro 2000 Championship. Keep your eye on nationalracingnetwork.com and all the social channels. We will have reports tonight from the invasion of the Posse, the Pennsylvania Posse, making their way across the Delaware River to Bridgeport Speedway. In addition to the biggest 410 names in Pennsylvania, Alex Bowman was in attendance, Christopher Bell in attendance. Yeah, that is a wild 410 show that they had out at Bridgeport tonight. So you'll get to see the recaps of all that coming up here over the course of tomorrow right here on the National Racing Network. But until then, for Patrick Byrne and everybody here that makes these shows possible, my name is Chris Graham. It has been a pleasure to get this thing on the air for you tonight. And congratulations to Will Worsler picking up win number 1 this season in the Sim Racers Club. But until tomorrow night in the Ezra IndyCar Series, time for us to bid you adieu. Have a good night, everybody.